All right, everyone. The corporatist legacy media is very concerned about our president's xenophobia because he wants to, guard the border again. I'm going to ask this a fucking second time of the Washington Post and Politico and New York Times, CNN, and all these other groups. You all tend to lean left at this point. Let's not mince words. Because of your opposition to Trump, you take on a left-leaning platform with regards to immigration or anything else that Trump is supposedly far right on. What is your specific proposal? Let's say 5 to 10,000 migrants are approaching the border and it's a Democrat as the president. Democratic Senate, Democratic House, liberal Supreme Court and stuff. What would you do to solve the problem? You have a group of people that is saying, we intend to enter your country illegally. We're going to march on your border. We're going to march across the border. Fuck off. You can't do anything to stop us. What would you do in such a situation? It's almost not worth rhetorically asking because the answer is capitulation. The answer is that they would let them across, give them free food, and say, okay, well, they would make the case to the American people and drag it out for months and months for political reasons, trust me. Oh, well, these are our fellow human beings. They need, look, Guatemala's poor. We need to resettle them here. Oh, they're homeless veterans and hungry kids in our country. No. Fuck you, bigot. You're not allowed to have any more pennies to your name. You're not allowed to have job placement. You're not allowed to have WIC. You're not allowed to have food stamps. You're not allowed to have more homeless shelters or whatever, more mental health counseling for people that are schizoid and wandering around out in the street talking about gray aliens. You're not allowed to have any of these things. We have to take care of other people who have openly proclaimed a desire to flaunt the fact that we have a border in the first place. The problem is this. I'll tell you a problem. If we can have a situation in which, again, estimated 5 to 10,000 people can walk across our border uninhibited, filter into the population, nobody does a damn thing about it, this will definitely incentivize others to do the same. Largely, one of the few things that's holding back some illegal immigration to the United States, because let's face it, a lot of people in the world would love to come here and stay even if illegally. The one thing dissuading them is the fact that we have border defense, that we have law enforcement, that our government, up until fairly recently, the latter days of Obama, has largely understood the problem. Trump tweets out the other day a speech from Obama, I think it was from 2008, where he's talking about, people are taking advantage of our generosity. They need to follow the law. We've got problems. People are coming in here illegally, and it's a drain on the actual U.S. population. Absolutely. And Obama said it when he ran, and Clinton said it, and Bush said it, and Herbert Walker, and Reagan, every other fucking president that we've had for half a century, which is how long this has actually been an issue, has said the same fucking shit. And none of them have done anything. When they're campaigning, they assure us, yeah, I believe in the strong border. Yeah, there's problems. It's all my predecessors' fault. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. We'll have a better wall. We'll have more ICE agents, or before that, more border control in general in a localized sense. We'll do things. We'll talk to Mexico about it, try to solve this problem. They talk a big game, and they don't do anything. The thing that freaks these people out by Trump, the reason why Trump's proposals freak out the New York Times or the DNC is because he's actually walking the walk. He's the first president that we've had since this has become an issue that has actually made an attempt to solve the problem, a physical attempt. If there were a 20-foot tall wall along the entire Mexican border, properly guarded with ICE agents roaming around on ramparts on the top and, searchlights and all the other things associated with a fortified situation, then this wouldn't be a problem. Do you think there'd be a migrant caravan headed this way? Do you think they'd fucking bother? No, they might sit out there and protest on the other side of the wall so the news vans can crane their fucking cameras over the wall and watch them and say, oh, look at the poor children over there. And I can guarantee you, in all the shots we see of this crowd, it's like they're 3/4 young males, okay? Because let's face it, if you're going to march across the whole nation of Mexico, you're probably not a pregnant woman carrying 3 toddlers. Maybe some of these people get truck access, but by and large, young males. But when they get to the border, for the U.S. media to directly show you on live TV, guess who's going to be at the front? Small children, old men, and pregnant women. Guaranteed. Because it's optics. This is an organized attempt. Yes, this is being organized by third parties. Don't fucking tell me that this is an organic sort of thing. Yes, we've got a hardliner president who's talking about border control, has beefed up, border control to the best of his ability. They choose now to amass by the thousands or tens of thousands and storm the border. Yes, I'm sure totally organic. No, the idea is that what the Democrats want, what the third parties organizing this want, I don't think it's like Soros himself. I think it's other movements associated with the far left. They're all in bed together, so they're all kind of in league, but that doesn't mean that one of them necessarily knows everything that goes on in all the others. It could be any of them. It's not clear at this moment, but some of them at least are involved. What they're hoping is that they'll get to the border. Trump's troops will fire on them with rubber bullets, and you'll see like crying kids and women with wounds and stuff, and then they'll have a media frenzy. That's what they're hoping for. So hopefully restraint is definitely shown, but if we had a coherent border defense, it wouldn't be a problem. Here's the thing. Fundamentally, this is sort of like the breakdown of MAD. The breakdown of MAD happens when it becomes clear that one side is not capable of upholding its end of mutually assured destruction. They get antagonized and they back down, essentially. Any backing down is deadly within that arrangement. The same is true of a border. Let's say you have a border. Let's say, for instance, like with the neighbors next door. You have a fence there or something. The neighbor wanders across it. You're like, well, don't do that. Stay on your side of the fence. And they keep doing it and you never do anything about it. Eventually, it's almost as though there's no fence there. There's no actual border. Your property is essentially their property too. They can do whatever the fuck they want about it. You put up signs, you put up a fence or whatever. The problem is that in that situation, of course, you probably call the cops and you're like, hey, my property is being violated constantly. Or you get a lawyer, you talk to a judge or something, you're like, file a restraining order or something. Basically, the judge tells him, stop fucking walking on his property or we're going to start fining you. It's going to be a problem. Or you defend but unfortunately in this case, there is no court, there is no cop or anything. The national authority is the end-all be-all because it's a national border. What happens when that national authority is unwilling to guard its own border or unable to do so? Now I've pointed out, it's pie-in-the-sky utopian nonsense, the idea that Trump is magically able to, the wand that he has for the economy, which is working pretty well, unfortunately for, all of the MAGA populace, it doesn't allow you to magically expel 20 million people from the country. There are too many people that are already here illegally. The problem is this, though. The liberals, who have no problem with understanding the pragmatic side of that equation, are equally non-pragmatic when it comes to defending the border in the first place. You've got to have a wall, you've got to have enough border security, and you've got to be inventive about how you handle the diplomatic side of the situation in order to stop the problem in the first place. The problem is that the Democrats don't want to do that. It's not so much, we see these as captive voters. Look, the Republicans see them as slave labor, so let's not get started on making this a fucking partisan issue. The problem is that the Democrats want to use it as a wedge issue. They're hoping that they can say, hey, Trump can't do anything about this situation. If he does, we'll cry bigot, we'll cry racist, and look, they're like, oh, Trump is considering protecting the fucking border against what amounts to a small invasion force. I say small compared to maybe the size of the average military in the world, numbering in the hundreds rather than tens of thousands or maybe 10,000. Now, considerably smaller. This is a group, though. If this were 200 years ago, you know what this group would be called? It'd be called a partisan militia. Just happens to be only lightly armed. It's a partisan militia, and then some of these people, they're like scrawling a swastika on a U.S. flag and burning it on their way here. Okay, yes, we love America. We're going to burn the American flag on the way in. We love America. We're going to flaunt your laws. Our first days in your nation will be spent in blatant violation of your national borders. Well, we fucking love it so much. And the Democrats want to cast this off as a blameless group of what amount to refugees. Not our fucking responsibility. There are other countries that are also more prosperous than Guatemala and Honduras. Why aren't they going there? Better yet, why aren't they getting together in these numbers to pressure their own governments to reform so that they don't have to be refugees? It's just like with the Syrian crisis. Fucking solve things there. There never would have been refugee movements into Europe if it hadn't been for Western governments fucking Syria over, making it unlivable. That's the whole point. Well, these countries have been made unlivable largely by socialism. Then these same stupid liberals want to adopt the same stupid policies that have ruined these countries here in the United States. See how that works out for you. Yeah, I'm sure that you do want an open borders hemisphere. That way when the United States is fucked by socialism, we can go to Brazil, I guess, where Bolsonaro's children by then will be leading a military dictatorship because it works. Or maybe to Chile or nationalistic Mexico. Gonna have to. We'll have to go to only lightly socialist Canada, where there will still be like the right of self-defense and stuff up in the Great White North. This is ridiculous. What are you going to do about it? What is the corporate media? Instead of just saying, well, Trump's proposal is bigoted, what do you propose? You've got to have a national border. That much is clear. The majority of Americans comprehend that fact, I think, including the majority of young Americans. Don't get me started on any fucking mythical age gaps between those who want just one world globe of John Lennonism and those that want evil, nasty nationalism. Can I ask this? What in a vacuum is wrong with nationalism? It's not necessarily based on ethnicity. Trump's not saying, well, I'm keeping these people out because they've got brown skin. I'm keeping these people out because they're named Rodriguez. That's not what he's saying. He's saying these people aren't entitled to be here for legal purposes. It's civic nationalism he's talking about. It has nothing to do with their ethnicity. Some of these people are totally white, and some of these people aren't. Who fucking cares? Meanwhile, the left pretends to care so much about minorities, and it's like, oh yeah, that black homeless veteran over there, fuck him. We don't care about him because he was born in the country to begin with. Screw him. By the way, we're going to disarm him. By the way, mental health, we're going to talk a big game. We're not going to walk any walk whatsoever. Don't reform it at all. Keep giving him painkillers or whatever. Keep him doped up to the eyeballs so when he goes postal, we can blame the gun. That's the problem with the Democratic Party of today, and I think it's beginning to piss people off. There's a reason why Trump's approval's rising. Part of it's because of this border issue. I think the Democrats have created their own worst enemy. This isn't going to benefit the left. The only way this benefits the left is if Trump is crazy and has 5 or 6 dudes with miniguns on top of the border fence spraying these people down and massacring them. That's the only way in which this benefits the left at this point. It's become a mockery. It's a fucking mockery of our political system. That's about all. Peace out.